Dear Selected One, this message has arrived just when you needed it to, and not by coincidence alone. The timing is perfect, as the Bible says. You are guided here because you conquered an insurmountable challenge, an ordeal that transformed your very being, one that was unseen by humanity but plainly visible to God. This message contains your confirmation. Not only did you survive, you thrived, and not by compromising your principles or taking shortcuts, but by standing firm, loyal, and trustworthy no matter how bad things become. Sometimes it feels like life is a test, like a relentless storm that will never let up. You keep on standing, breathing, and hoping while suffering through agony, loss, betrayal, isolation, financial troubles, and delayed aspirations. This is a deliberate act, not a random occurrence. This was an opportunity for growth, not punishment. You did it, which makes it all the more powerful. Not by cutting corners or using people for your own gain, but by keeping your faith, staying loyal, and not giving up. Here is your story. Your climb begins here. You were chosen because of your exceptional qualities, not your ease. And this is a gentle reminder of that. I'll break it down for you into 7 chapters that will explain why you're stronger than you believe and the significance of this journey. Please like, share, and subscribe before we begin, because this message is for the chosen few who are ready to turn their suffering into strength and purpose. If you feel this message speaks to you, please add 55 as a comment. This is more than a mere numerical value. It is a declaration to the cosmos that you are conscious, in harmony, and ready to claim what is properly yours. The path to the breakthrough, clarity, and strength you've been seeking is narrow, and only the truly chosen will be able to traverse it. If you feel the abundance of divine love filling your heart, now is the perfect time to share it. By clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube and contributing $100 or more, you can help spread God's blessings far and wide. Your offering will not only touch your own life, but also reach countless souls through this platform. Each of you holds a sacred place in God's magnificent plan, and your generosity will be the answer to many prayers. Take action now. Share your blessings to honor His kingdom, for you were created to accomplish even greater works through His loving hands. May God's grace be with you. The truth is unveiled with every listen, so feel free to re-watch this video as many as you need to. On every occasion, a more profound part of your character will show itself. In life, we frequently face unforeseen challenges. No alerts, cautions, or preparation instructions have been sent out. In the middle of the day, when you're going about your usual routine and believing everything is under control, suddenly, everything starts to go wrong. There is no advance notice of the storm. Those closest to you depart. Unfortunately, plans fail. Costs accumulate. It seems like your prayers are being unanswered as you find yourself in the middle of an unexpected personal battlefield. The issue was that no one else could perceive the conflict in which you were involved. You seemed to be quite courageous, so you wanted to yell, but instead you smiled. You showed there just as you were about to pass out. The world saw your courage, but it couldn't see the lonely evenings, the tears on your pillow, and the weight you carried all by yourself. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Your inner voice pleaded with you to stop, yet you persisted, nevertheless. Amidst all the chaos and pain, a gentle voice said, "Hold on a second. Why is this happening to me? I beg God, why?" Despite your feelings of being forgotten and abandoned, you couldn't let go. At this time, no, keep going. God was trying to inform you that what you were experiencing was just the beginning of your tale. It was the toughest exam you'd ever had to take. It wasn't about memorizing facts and formulas, but about your faith, character, and strength. Taking this exam will reveal your true character when everything else is gone. Even more so, most individuals fail to grasp that. What matters more than what you know is what you bring to God's test. What matters is your response in situations where you are perplexed. Being steadfast when giving in would be more convenient, and being faithful when making concessions would be more convenient are key points. The real difficulty is in the unseen, in the stillness, in the struggle, and the loneliness. It occurred regardless of your preparation, and while it shocked you, it did not destroy you, because you discreetly exhibited traits that the majority of people lack: unfaltering determination, quiet faith, and an indomitable spirit. It appeared as though you could cave to the pressure, yet you resisted. You stood firm in your principles even when no one was watching. Your journey starts here. Hit subscribe now and step into your purpose. Don't miss what's coming. By doing so, you were able to pass the first part of the exam. You now realize that every cry, every sleepless night, and every sacrifice was meticulously recorded, even though you didn't know this at the time. You were being built up, not shattered, not punishing you, but preparing you. You have successfully completed the most challenging aspect of this first chapter of your becoming: simply being present. You stayed put, even though it would have been easier to just go. You kept your ground even when it started to shake. You were chosen because you were able to keep your heart soft, even when life made it hard, which proves who you are, not what other people think or what your history says, but what God knew all along. You are prepared for more. The purpose of the exam was to expose you, not break you. Both the air and your spirit are heavy with a stillness. When you pray earnestly to God but get no answer, direction, or breakthrough, you will experience this kind of quiet. Nobody uttered a word. You begged for an indication. Seeking assistance was your request. In spite of your pleading for even a single word, any indication that God had seen you and was not forgetting you, time seemed to stretch on interminably. Doors stayed shut, and the sky stayed clear. That lack of response could appear to be the most blatant rejection. At first glance, it could indicate desertion. You could start to wonder if your trust was misplaced or if your prayers were for nothing. But the reality is that most people don't realize that God's silence was a sign of His presence rather than His absence. Like a teacher who stays silent before an exam, God was keeping a close watch on you to see how you would react if you couldn't hear His voice. Will you keep believing? Would you still comply with instructions? Would your faith in Him remain unshaken when all logic failed you? You did as well. You persisted, regardless of your lack of understanding. Even though you didn't feel His presence, you persisted in your prayers. Even though you were unable to discern a route, you persisted in walking. Belief that continues even when things seem hopeless is a special and powerful kind of faith. True faith is unwavering and cannot be imitated. Isolation strengthens it, and silence gives it life. In that stillness, you met yourself. You discovered a level of resilience you had no idea you had. You learned to stand on your own 2 feet, breathe deeply even when anxious, and traverse unfamiliar terrain without a map. Even in the midst of the worst of that storm, you realized that God was shaping you. He was trying to teach you to be strong, to be more independent, and to trust in God less and less until your faith was based on logic and reason and not feelings. Silence does not mean rejection, as you know, but it does mean the test is active. It means that the heavenly realm is eagerly awaiting your next action. Your strength is now plainly visible, and you have reached a turning point in your journey where it is no longer a question. No matter how easy it was, or if you knew the answers, you persisted in moving forward because you were guided to trust by an inner voice. If you wanted to pass, it wasn't because you were the most outspoken or because you knew everything. It was because you stuck with the idea that you could succeed even when faced with uncertainty. That unfaltering faith, that quiet might, was on the test. Surrounded by sacred stillness, you not only weathered the tempest, but emerged stronger than before. When faced with adversity, many people resort to quick cuts. To fit in, some people lie about who they are, while others do it to stay out of trouble. Some individuals will bully, deceive, and crush anyone who gets in their way in order to go forward. In a culture where success is often measured by the outcome rather than the process, honesty is rendered irrelevant. Compromise is seen as the natural course of action, and the truth becomes unclear. Under intense time constraints, even the most morally upright individuals may give in to the temptation to act immorally. But you went in a different direction. You could have joined the herd, found an easy way out, or become distant and bitter by refusing to connect with others. The choice to retaliate was in your hands. You had the opportunity to mimic their actions, abandoning, betraying, lying, and twisting your way to a false sense of success. But you opted not to, and you were unwavering. You stuck to your ideals even when it meant sacrificing relationships, sleep, time, and opportunities. You never betrayed your own principles. That is strength, not frailty. Unimaginable strength is needed to remain kind in the face of a cruel reality. It takes a chosen soul to walk the high road when it appears to be the easier and faster option, and it takes guts to choose character over convenience. People around you might not have seen your resistance. Even while heaven was watching, they had no idea which options you turned down, which shortcuts you passed over, and which temptations you refused to give into. God took note. The point of this part of the test was to see how well you could persevere through adversity without letting your spirit go. Simply put, everyone is capable of looking good. No one can survive the crucible unscathed, but anybody may act the part and work for their goals. Dear brothers and sisters, may the peace of God fill your hearts today. I come to remind you of a profound truth. Our lives are firmly established in God's divine purpose, untouched by the fleeting worries of this world. As Scripture tells us, give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. Luke 6:38. Like the mighty oak whose roots are planted deep in rich soil, our foundation is anchored in God's eternal truth. Every move we make, every stand we take, is upheld by His enduring strength. Today, you have the opportunity to participate in this divine blessing. By clicking the Super Thank You button and offering a gift of $50, you will sow into a harvest that will return to you many times over in God's abundant grace. The easy way wasn't your choice. You remained true to yourself, not sacrificing it for temporary comfort. To avoid difficulties or gain favor, you didn't alter your true self. You made the difficult and lonely choice to do things the right way, even when no one else did. Honesty is rare and doesn't get the attention that money or power do, yet it's worth more than money or power ever could. If you want to honor your purpose, being honest is the way to go. Making something that lasts is better than making something that looks good now, but falls apart tomorrow. The long term is being prioritized over the immediate. You've proven that you can achieve success. And not just any success, but the kind that brings joy to heaven, preserves your peace, and doesn't cost you your conscience. Why? Because in reality, everyone has the potential to live. But not everyone can keep their spirit alive. If you look in the mirror and say, "I didn't sell out," you're not alone. To win, I didn't have to give up any of my own flesh and blood. You were unique and exceptional because of that. The test was not only passed, but you also scored quite well. You made it through the flames unharmed. You didn't need to learn that kind of quiet nobility and strength. God already had it in you. When acting a certain way would have been easy, you stuck to your principles. You built an unmovable foundation by staying true to yourself and refusing to compromise. You can't destroy what you're making. The person you are becoming is irreversible. What really matters is not only what's ahead of you, but also the person you develop into. Someone who is strong, pure, steadfast, and chosen. Truthfully, it was almost enough to break you. There were moments when you doubted your capacity to cope. It was as if the whole thing were going to crush you. Both your mind and body were exhausted. Every day seemed to bring a fresh challenge, an additional mountain to climb, and yet another storm to weather. You were physically and mentally drained, and your soul gnawed at the depths of confusion. Some days it seemed like the whole world was out to get you, punishing you for being good and doing the right thing, while other days it seemed like everything was working to bring you down. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. You couldn't understand why the pain kept coming back. The storm persisted in its fury, despite your best efforts, and you couldn't fathom why. The more uncertainties there were, the more questions there were. Why me? Considering this, you thought, why is this hurting so badly? Your perceptions of the world led you to believe that people were able to move on with their lives, free from the continual weight you were carrying. That was wrong. You were lonely. The mental and physical exhaustion left you questioning your endurance. But what exactly was happening? Instead of being broken down, you were being broken open. Instead of trying to kill you, God was bringing forth your inner strength. He wasn't punishing you, He was preparing you. Although it was uncomfortable, it was necessary because it forced you out of your comfort zone and into a new, unrecognizable version of yourself. Fire is necessary for the polishing of gold. Tremendous pressure is necessary for the formation of diamonds, and trials are necessary for the ascent of the chosen one. It was never meant to break you. Rather, it was meant to shape you into the person you were always meant to be. Your worries, fears, and doubts were being chipped away at, allowing you to move forward. Your faith, resilience, and character were all honed as a result. With every cry and every struggle, you were being transformed into someone more magnificent, powerful, and capable than you could have ever imagined. Breaking is not the end, but rather the beginning of something very remarkable. Instead of merely suffering the pain, you were growing as a person because of it. All of the challenges you've overcome, the disappointments you've felt, and the heartaches you've endured have led you to this point. Despite the potential discomfort, it was essential. Your ascent to your rightful heights would not have been possible had you avoided the valley. The truth that the majority of people fail to notice is that having it easy does not make you strong, and being comfortable does not cause you to grow. Difficult circumstances led to it. Defeating the storm when running away is your natural inclination leads to this. This is the result of being able to keep your cool when everything around you is tearing you apart. Your strength has increased because of this. You've grown stronger, smarter, and more motivated than before. You are left with an unadulterated and indestructible essence after you peel back the layers that were never meant to be there. Through the flames, you have acquired an irreversible sense of power and clarity. Before getting up, a chosen one has to be tested. To grow into your true self, you must first be shattered and then endure the flames. Having said that, you have now made it out of the fire. Your inner diamond has been revealed, and the gold within you is shining more brilliantly than before. You are now more prepared for the future because of your experiences. We have completed the most challenging part. You are now ready to face your destiny and live the life you were destined to live, thanks to all you have learnt and accomplished. And that is just the beginning. No one clapped when you were announced. Loud applause and standing ovations were non-existent. The act of forgiving those who had harmed you was not celebrated. People paid you no mind when you kept going forward despite how heavy you were. Nobody may have recognized your silent struggles, silent courage, or silent sacrifices when you were weak. You made the correct decision, even though it would have been easier to give up, and now you have a trophy to show for it. Your efforts were recognized, even if you never got the credit you deserved. The heavens were watching. God was evaluating your performance on the test based on your tenacity, the unseen choices you made, the moments you opted for mercy over fury, the days you prioritized healing over holding on to grudges, and the instances you persisted in continuing even when you wanted to quit. The applause, compliments, and rewards were irrelevant. Your unwavering determination, faith, and compassion were the deciding factors. Despite the suffering and difficulty, the greatest celebration was already underway in heaven, even though you were unable to perceive it. When God observed your devotion, perseverance, sacrifice, struggle, and bravery, the real promotion began. That promotion was yours to keep. Instead of monetary compensation or a new title, this promotion brought with it something far more powerful: divine ascension. Reason being, following your passing, things began to shift. Previously shut doors began to reopen. Things that had seemed insurmountable suddenly became crystal plain. Instead of being rattled by outside forces, your spirit began to settle into a state of tranquility as you realized you were on the correct path. As the chaos of the outside world started to fade away, you realized your true purpose, the one that had always been there, waiting for you to seize it. Your purpose is guiding you and speaking out to you more than ever before. Patience is valued by God in quietness. No matter how alone you feel, He is always there to see your every vulnerable moment, your heartfelt prayers, and the confidence you've placed in Him. Having faith that God has your back is more important than receiving praise from people. The decisions taken, while no one was around to offer praise or affirmation, the hidden sacrifices and the motivation behind the actions are all visible to Him. Being devoted, persistent, and morally upright are what elevate you. That's the secret ingredient to being noticed. Thus, while everyone else failed to praise you, heaven stood guard. A sense of purpose has emerged, doors have begun to open, and a sense of serenity has begun to flow. You were forgotten by God, who remembers faithfulness in quiet. Now that all your hard work has paid off, His timing couldn't be better. It will be clear to everyone that you are being promoted from within. No matter how much you tried, you couldn't understand why you were different, why everyone else ignored you, and why you never seemed to fit in. As you wallowed in self-doubt, you beheld the triumph of others. It seemed as if no one else understood the path you were taking. You were completely alone. However, deep down, you understood that your story was special. The chosen ones are quarantined before being promoted, which is why this is the case. The path of the chosen is not an easy one. The chosen ones are singled out for a specific reason, not because they've been punished. There will be moments when you feel completely alone in the face of overwhelming odds. Feeling misunderstood or abandoned is normal. You just didn't know that moving forward needed you to be a part. A part of you began to emerge during that time of seclusion. Clear vision would be possible in the absence of obstructions. Being alone is a kind of training, not punishment. If you go there, you can grow into your true self. Before you can take the lead, you must master walking alone. You need to face your fears and doubts on your own, apart from the acceptance of others. You had to muster all your courage and stand firm in order for your spirit to be heard above the chaos. This was a season of growth and development, not isolation. You had to go it alone if you wanted to find your own voice, one that is formed by the facts and not other people's opinions. You had to tune in to your own feelings before you could understand the feelings of those around you. When you're alone, you can hear yourself think and feel more powerful. You realize that you were never truly alone. Rather, you were merely preparing for a greater opportunity to lead others. Now is the moment to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. With a donation of $100 or more, you can actively participate in His divine mission and contribute to His greater plan. Every offering you make reflects the boundless generosity of God, and I trust it will return to you abundantly, far exceeding your hopes. Always remember, His protection and blessing accompany your every step and every act of giving. You are a vital part of His sacred design. You are strong and radiant, steadfast like His mighty rock. Experience God's miracles, feel the rewards of your generosity deep within your soul, and shine your light with boldness and faith. May you be richly blessed, and may the light of the Lord continually guide your journey. You found the courage to lead, the insight, and the clarity in your own company. Your followers will be drawn to your authenticity and faith. For your vision to define you instead of seeking acceptance, you had to immerse yourself in your own wisdom and vision. Emptiness is not a viable leadership position. You no longer seek validation from other people because you are confident in your identity and the direction God has given you for your life. Your true identity has emerged, and it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Your eyes will always guide you, even when others fail to comprehend. With it, you will soar to new heights, and everyone around you will be swept along. You are not behind schedule, no matter how long it feels like you've been waiting. You are being refined by them. In order to prepare for a leadership role, you required every moment of solitude. You have been quietly putting in the time and effort to better yourself, grow spiritually, and get closer to God and yourself. Everything that has been a hindrance up until now is actually setting you up for your big break. An impactful display of leadership is about to unfold under your watch. You are no longer alone, even though you have been. People won't follow you because you sought them out. They'll follow you because your path and goal are compelling. Here you are, all set to go. Now is your chance to shine. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. That was a good score you got. You kept going when everyone else would have given up. You went through storms that tried to drown you out, wounds that threatened to break you, and nights that tested your faith to its limits. However, you persisted. Refrain from selling yourself short. You were determined not to let the pain define you. Instead of just being a survivor, you are now a guide. You bear scars, but you also bear wisdom, significance, and recollections. What you went through was about more than just you. Nothing you did, no matter how many times you prayed, no matter how many tears you poured, was ever in vain. God uses suffering for good. The route you followed in the dark is now visible to another person. You have become a beacon for those who are still seeking theirs through the voice you found in the stillness.